I'm Augustus. I'm traveling the United States to listen to everyday Americans and to tell them about my candidacy for President of the US in 2028. I'm here in Pierre, South Dakota, where the Missouri River carves through the heart of the Great Plains and the sun sets over the vast, rolling prairies that stretch toward the Black Hills. This is the 26th capital of my 50+1 Capitals tour. My plan seems obvious and necessary to me, but for other presidential candidates, it could be considered unnecessary and maybe even weird. The plan is to visit every capital in this country over the course of about 60 days. Not to give motivational speeches, but to listen. I'm here to hear about the skyrocketing property taxes that are making it hard for folks to keep their family land, the struggle to keep rural hospitals open so a zip code doesn't decide if you live or die, and the uncertainty in the agricultural industry that has our farmers and ranchers wondering if the country still values the sweat they put in to feed the world. South Dakota calls itself the Mount Rushmore state. You've got four giant faces carved into the granite, looking stoic and immortal. But those big stone heads aren't the ones paying the rising property taxes or fixing the fences after a spring blizzard. Lately, it feels like the independence the state was built on is being squeezed by people who couldn't find Pierre on a map if you gave them 3 tries and a compass. While the big shots talk, South Dakotans are the ones actually doing the heavy lifting, the ranching, the farming, and the teaching. I'm standing here at the South Dakota State Capitol. It's neoclassical, which is just a fancy way of saying it's built to last. It has hand-laid tile floors and statues of the thinker scattered around, which is fitting because we could use a lot more actual thinking in government these days. This place is a bridge. On one side, you've got the deep ancient history of the Ocheti Shakowin. On the other, you've got the grit of the pioneers. It's a beautiful house, but a house is only as good as the family living in it. It's easy to get misty-eyed about the Badlands or the Needles, but scenery doesn't vote, and it doesn't look out for its neighbors. I'm interested in the people. If you want to lead this state, you better be able to talk to a rancher in the West River country without looking like you're afraid of a little dirt. And you better respect the families grinding it out in the corn and soybean fields to the east. South Dakota winters are mean. They'll try to take the spirit right out of you. But the people here are meaner when they need to be. From the cattle pens to the hospital halls, it's one shared soul that knows how to plant its feet and say, I'm not budging. To be the leader of the whole country, you have to actually know the whole country. You have to marvel at the Badlands, admire the views along the Pacific Coast Highway, cross the mighty Mississippi, and visit the beautiful Smoky Mountains. You cannot lead a people you do not know, and you cannot know the people from inside a high-flying jet, a speeding motorcade, or a gilded office in D.C. Having lived in 7 states and visited all 50 at least once before, I think I have a glimmer of understanding of who we, the people of the United States, are. But you can never stop learning. That's why I'm visiting each state again, and I will continue to do so both during my campaign and during my time in office. Now, you might be thinking, who is this guy? As I said, I'm Augustus. I was born in New York State 65 years ago. Like you, I've spent much of my life working. I've seen presidents come and go, and industries rise and fall. And I've watched as the people who keep this nation functioning, the nurses at Avera and Sanford, the crews maintaining I-90, and the staff at your local grocery store are treated like cattle or sheep, not human beings. You may be asking yourself, is he qualified? The Constitution says I am. To me, though, being qualified means working as hard as I can to help the most people possible. You need to decide for yourself what qualified means to you. Think about the people who meet in this Capitol or in Washington, D.C. How many of them are qualified in your eyes? How many of them are working to make your utility bills manageable or your fuel prices affordable? It seems to me that many representatives have forgotten the primary requirement of their jobs, remembering who they represent. They shouldn't represent the lobbyists. They shouldn't represent their party. And they definitely should not represent the ultra-rich. Your representatives and the President of the United States should represent you. Period. I stand for the people, not for corporations that treat employees like disposable parts, not for the rich and ultra-rich who treat the law as a suggestion, and not for the special interests who think their way is the only way. I believe in a land of freedom and opportunity, not a land where out-of-state investors push families out of the towns they've called home for generations. Why consider an unaffiliated, unconventional candidate like me? Maybe because you're exhausted. You're sick of having to choose between generic candidate A and generic candidate B, neither of whom has had to decide between a grocery bill and a mortgage payment. While a vote for a candidate who isn't a member of one of the 2 major parties can be scary, isn't it scarier to have to choose between bad and worse? Choose to vote for someone who will actually work to make your lives better. Vote from compassion, not fear. The motto of South Dakota is, under God, the people rule. It's a phrase that speaks to the very heart of this hard-working people. Sadly, it feels like the only thing being equal lately is the struggle of regular people, while the rich and ultra-rich profit off your hard work. It's time to ensure that the prosperity of the state reaches the people who work two jobs just to put food on the table and a roof over their heads. I'm headed to Bismarck, North Dakota next. I have many capitals and many miles ahead of me. If you see me in your state, don't just take a picture, come over and say hello. Tell me what's keeping you up at night. Tell me what you want for your children. I'm Augustus and I'm here to listen. I'll see you on the steps where you live. Okay, stressing out a little bit because the car doesn't have enough charge to get to the next supercharger, but at least I'm in Pierre, and we're going to try this and see what happens. The plan is to get hair out of my mouth. Okay, that's really bad. And I've watched as the nation, the mouth, the mouth. Okay, I have to redo this.